Vikings Ventline commences right this second. Zolgad, Cunningham, Manny Hill producing. TCL Broadcast Studios, Declan Goff running all the streams where you can find us, including on Twitter. 651-646-8255 if you would like to join the conversation, and the conversation will rotate around the starting quarterback for the Vikings. Gentlemen, I was doing some numbers crunching this morning.
I am really excited to hear these numbers.
And let's just say I had to put my breakfast down and make a trip to the bathroom because I thought I might possibly become ill.
Let's hear it.
Do you want to know what $28 million gets you in 2019?
It's
28 a year, average 84 total. Do you want to know what it gets you?
Let's hear it.
Let me run through these statistics before issuing a slight mea culpa for something I dismissed out of hand yesterday, and we can go from there, Danny. Kirk Cousins now with the loss on Sunday, and Scoggins had this in his column in the Star Tribune Monday morning, so this one's not surprising. It was making its way around town yesterday. 5-27 against teams with a winning record in his career.
That's bad.
7-year career. Okay. Yeah, that's bad. Cousins now as the Vikings starting quarterback against winning teams. So this includes teams that finished above 500 in 2018 or teams that are above 500 now, of which he played the Packers, who won their first game. And then obviously the Bears were above 500 going into Sunday, 1-8. He has won one game against, and to be clear about that win came at Philadelphia last year.
Big win.
When the Eagles were 500 and fell below 500 with that loss to the Vikings.
But finished above 500
finished
for the
above
season.
500.
They finished as a winning team.
Exactly. 1-8 as the Vikings starting quarterback against winning teams. In primetime games, of which this team has not experienced any yet, but they will, 5-13. Oof. That includes time with, obviously, Washington. Career road record, 13-25-2. 13-25-2. Primetime Monday night games, 0-7. And that, gentlemen, sums up so far the success or lack thereof. 5-27 against and I did not say good teams. I said teams with winning records. So that gets to my question of the day, which you threw out on Twitter at Real D Cunningham, 651-646-8255. I would like to throw this out right now. And I'll attach some qualifiers here. At any point this season, what would it take for you to bench Kirk Cousins for, I can't believe I'm saying this, Sean Mannion? He of 11 career games, 1 start, and a 66.4 passer rating. And I'm not even going to say bench him and say he's done starting, but I just gave you a slew of statistics that Kirk Cousins, and then it's not a small sample size. It indicates he chokes in big games. What would it take for you to bench Kirk Cousins in one of those games and simply say, Kirk, I'm sorry, but it's not fair to your teammates to continue to run you out there against this team or on this night?
So once you bench him, there's no going back. There's no, we don't want you starting this week, but you're back next week. That's not happening here. Once Kirk Cousins is on the bench, Kirk Cousins is not getting off the bench. The Kirk Cousins era is over if you bench him. You realize that, right?
I don't know about that.
The way that this guy handles things, the way he seems
he might mentally collapse. That's true.
That's exactly what would happen. He cannot handle.
But he can't handle. He can't handle big games.
No,
I just gave you a litany.
He can't handle being a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's what we've learned.
I think he can handle against bad teams. I think he's fine to start. I think he's fine in New York on Sunday.
I think that he is a journeyman quarterback that found a way to get paid.
But anyway, so what would that be though? What's the cliff where you finally say it's a Monday night game? Or it's another important game in which the pressure in which he holds the ball. And yes, he's got a bad offensive line, but he's holding the ball too forever. At what point do you say it doesn't matter anymore? This isn't fair to my defense. This isn't fair to Dalvin Cook. This isn't fair to Thielen. It's not fair to Diggs. We got to make a change.
As much as I want to say that point is now, I don't think I'm quite there.
I think it's in a game, by the way. I think it's inside of a game.
Yes, I agree.
I don't think it's a week. I don't think it's a Wednesday decision.
I think that he needs to have a performance similar to the one he had against Chicago against a bad team. If that happens against the Giants, who they don't have a very good defense, you have to think about it. The Eagles, not nearly as good as Chicago, a better team. But the one thing that the caveat I'll give here that makes it difficult is this schedule doesn't exactly have a lot of bad teams on it.
But my point is this indicates he's going to choke more and more and more.
Yeah.
So at what point during a team, I am not saying that Sean Mannion for 1 second. And by the way, I laughed at this thought on Monday, but when you go through the stats I just gave you, it's alarming. So at what point, not that you turn to Mannion and say he's going to be the savior, but you absolutely say, I can't have a guy who is literally at times against these good teams in big situations unable to process what he's doing. Because that's the problem here.
That's the guy that they have, though.
With that line, you got to get the ball out. And on Sunday, again, he didn't do it.
I think the best way it was summarized was on one of the calls yesterday that said when Kirk Cousins has that count in his head, it's multiplied by 2. He's counting by 2s every time he's in the pocket because he's scared. He's terrified of being sacked.
And I thought yesterday it will never happen. And then the more I looked at those stats, and you've now run into a situation where, I'm sorry, I don't care if Thielen goes on Kirk's Vikings.com podcast or he tried to walk back his comments yesterday to the media at TCO Performance Center or whatever happens, there has to be a vote of no faith there. There can't be. Professional athletes and coaches, too. There has to be a feeling of there's no faith here.
Yeah.
And this is not to say that Sean Mannion's going to step in and be great. It is to say that there has to come a point where you say to the rest of the team, we understand what we're doing to you with this guy is probably not fair to you.
Trying to figure out what that point is fascinating because it feels like it should already be here. It feels like that the tipping point should have already happened, but we know that it hasn't. We know that Kirk Cousins is going to be the guy out there on Sunday. But I'm just so curious what it's finally going to be, because this is going to lead to a very disrupted locker room, and I think that they're there now. I really think that this locker room's not in a good place, and it's only going to continue to get worse.
And we keep getting closer and closer to very important people truly expressing. They're all trying to sanitize their comments, Danny, for now. But we keep getting closer and closer.
Us, their comments to us.
Yeah. They're trying to sanitize their thoughts. Their thoughts are, what the hell is going on? And again, this is the comment from Zimmer that we played off the top of the show. This is him talking about Kirk's performance on Sunday and simply, and here's the sad thing, simply getting rid of the football.
I think, there's times you just got to pull the trigger and you just got to believe it. You're going to make the throw. There was some times that he got the ball out really good. The one behind Adam, just a little bit behind him, he got that ball out good. There were some other ones that, we just got to keep working on it.
All right, we are inching closer. We're inching closer to the truth.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that was case? Mike would have absolutely.
The answer would not have been the same.
Mike would have absolutely filleted him and told us.
Completely shredded him.
Yeah, he would have said this is. In fact, he would have done it post game. But they are what, and that's another problem here. And I get it; it goes along with the contract. But another problem here is here's my advice, folks in Egan. Stop walking on eggshells. You got what you got. Light them up. See if no one's going to care at this point. Light them up.
Care. He will care. That's who's going to care. That's why they won't.
But if I destroy him at this point, it doesn't matter. What, I'm going to lose him against the Giants so I can beat bad teams? Light them up. See if it works. See whatever works. I come here today telling you that I think there is a point at which you're going to have to remove him from a game. You know what you have. This line is this line. He continues to hold the ball. He continues to be I gave you a litany of career statistics that say that when the moment is big, this is a bleeping professional athlete making $84 million a year. He can't process it. So light him up. See if I care. Okay, so he collapses again. You're bad anyway then. You're bad anyway.
Worst case scenario, it's you stay in the status quo and you go 8-8 and you're out of a job.
Can Sean Mannion throw a pass quickly? Can he deliver a football? Maybe he can. I don't know. But you're not going to, there's not enough that you can fix here to get around his shortcomings, and his shortcomings are never going away. And so at some point, you're going to be playing in a key game where he's going to be, his hands again are going to be around his neck, and you got to do something about it. If you're Zimmer, you can't keep this up if you're Mike Zimmer. This isn't even you.
I think, there's times you just got to pull the trigger and you just got to believe it. You're going to make the throw. There was some times that he got the ball out really good. The one behind Adam, just a little bit behind him.
Just stop. You're lying to yourself. This isn't you. Go up to the podium and tell us what you think. You did it for a year with Case. You got to the championship game. If this guy can't take it, then he can't take it.
He can't take it.
Then you know what?
Let me ask
it's
you this.
over anyway.
How close are you to just wanting the plug pulled on this experiment? On the Kirk Cousins era, I understand the money. I understand everything that's guaranteed. I understand that there are still 28 games left on this contract. But how close are you to wanting this era just over with?
Well, number one, I'm not panicked. I'm in stage of acceptance. Number two, the acceptance is, and this is the same thing that I went through with the Wild, it didn't work. You took a shot. You thought you were being smart. In retrospect, you weren't, but you thought you were. He's going to cost people their job. So you know what? So here's my point about this.
I think, there's times you just got to pull the trigger and you just got to.
Okay, Mike, Rick, closed circuit to you both. The plug is going to be pulled on you because of this.
Yes.
So let's get done with the BS. Let's stop sugarcoating it. If you lit up Case for a year, light him up. Go up to a podium and say he's got to deliver. You know what? Our offensive line ain't very good, but the guy's got to throw the bleeping football. Is that much to say at this point?
For Kirk, it is.
Okay, so he cowers. What do I care? I'm not going to save him from himself. It's over.
It feels like these guys are trying to stretch this and still hoping for a ray of success that none of us see to be there.
Right, but why can't they be realistic?
Because their jobs are on the line. When your job's on the line, you're not always the most realistic person.
But reach the stage, but there's a process here, right? Reach the stage, gentlemen, where you're going to go down swinging. Your jobs are done at this point. You can't keep doing this. And by the way, you'll probably beat the Giants. And that's so nice. You're going to go to New York and beat the Giants. You're not winning important games. This guy can't win an important game. He's 1-1.
And I think the question, too, to sort of play off of the Cousins question is, how close is Mike Zimmer to having just like one of those post-game meltdowns that we saw from like Jim Mora or Denny Green, or just one of those where you look back on and say, because when Mora had his meltdown with the Saints.
Are you saying Bernsey?
But Bernsey wasn't fired, though.
No, but it's still a great meltdown.
And Bernsey had the meltdown after winning a game.
But a true Zim meltdown would be filled with expletives, of which I would relish.
Because the Mora diddly poo thing with the Saints, he turned around and resigned the next day.
The diddly poo was awesome.
It was fantastic.
Oh,
and then the playoffs one, he got fired after that season was over.
Yeah.
And then the Bears are who we thought they were. He got fired after that season. I mean, at what point does Mike Zimmer have that meltdown where you look back and you say, that was the start of the end right there?
651-646-8255. Adam, what are your thoughts on this topic? Adam?
Oh, hello. Yes.
Hey, Adam.
This is Adam, yes. I am sick and tired of this Kirk Cousins thing. It is the end of the road for these guys. It definitely was a mistake, and it's going to cost them their jobs. He doesn't have I'm sorry to say, he doesn't have the balls to do this. Keegan had enough kahunas to throw the pass, to trust himself. Cousins is a head case and just doesn't have that.
Yep.
It's hard.
Thank you, sir.
Can't
Appreciate
disagree.
The call. Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, he can't.
I mean, Case wasn't the best quarterback out there. No one's going to argue that, but the guy had some guts.
Well, and this is why I don't care if I lose Kirk now. If I'm the team, what do I care? Like, he's not going. There's nothing that's happened from the kid gloves, the coddling, the constant reassurances, the attempt to give him a podcast on Vikings.com so he feels good about it. There's nothing that's working. And it's troubling me that Mike Zimmer, of all people, is no longer even being true to himself. He's handling a quarterback. What's next for kid gloves? A kicker? I mean, Mike, be Mike.
That'll never happen.
I want our Mike back. Hi, John.
Hi. So two things. First of all, it came out this offseason that the Vikings were looking to move on from Kirk. There was rumblings that they were kind of exploring that. And so if they already knew that they were done with him, why don't they have a backup?
Where, John? I don't recall seeing that. Yeah.
I don't know if it was Pro Football Talk or somewhere.
Florio hates them, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all do. And so that was the first part, is they don't have any backup plan. So moving on, yeah, you put Sean Mannion in. I mean, this season's done. And then the second thing about it is, what's Kirk Cousins' MO his entire career? He wants to be the underdog. He wants to prove people wrong.
Yes.
And so why are they treating him with kid gloves? If they go out and they rip him and they say, we have no faith in our own quarterback, then who knows what might happen? He might actually play like a good quarterback. I have no faith. I think they're losing to the Giants. I have no faith for the rest
Giants
of the
defense
season.
is not very good, John. So that's going to give Dalvin a chance to get back in this thing, and so I think they can beat them. But against
Dalvin maybe, but Kirk he doesn't seem to know what he's doing anymore.
Against good teams, he does not. Yeah, you're right. All right, John, thanks.
So, John, Kirk does want to prove people wrong, but the people he wants to prove wrong are people like Judd and myself. He doesn't want to have to prove his own organization wrong.
No.
That's not the type of underdog role he wants to play. He wants to play the nobody believes in us card except for us. He wants that locker room to believe in him.
That's where you like that came from.
Yes, exactly.
Let's find out,
yes,
guys.
exactly.
But let's find out. Let's test him.
He doesn't have the mental wherewithal for that.
Okay. It can't get any. I mean, it can't get any worse than this.
Oh, yes,
except he loses to some right. But then I just bench him.
It can get worse.
I believe that the next big game he's in, and when he pulls this BS of holding on to the football, woe is me, life is tough, I'm only making $84 million. You got to think about taking him out of that game.
And he'll be fine. He'll be fine on Sunday against the Giants because they're a terrible defense.
Yeah, I looked it up.
They're going to be able to run the ball with Dalvin Cook.
I looked it up today. The Giants.
They're going up against a rookie quarterback. Then the Giants don't have their best player, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, the Giants defensively, hold on a second here because I looked that up this morning, and you're right. The Giants are 19th against the run, 109.8 yards per game against. Yeah. Dalvin Cook's fine there. They're 25th against the pass, 279.5 yards given up there, and they are 21st in scoring defense. The Vikings, by the way, are 6th, 24.3 points. So yeah, he's going to be fine in those games, but he wasn't signed. But he was signed to make those games automatics.
Exactly.
Right? Yep. Those games were automatics. What you wanted was, okay, go into Chicago, beat Chicago. Okay, go into Green Bay, beat Green Bay.
Failures.
Yep. Yeah. But I honestly, Sunday and Monday, I'm like, well, you can't bench him because, and then the more I thought about it, and I looked up those stats, and we'll go through them again just because they're alarmingly awful. This is a career of failure.